how can God's name be praised? How can God's name be lifted up on high? That's something I ask myself every day when my feet hit the ground. I always have to ask, God, how can your name be glorified today? One way I have definitely grown, and I've actually seen myself living out this verse, is that when I was a child, I talked like a child and I thought like a child. And now as a Christian, as I became a man, I've put away childish things. So how I think about serving, for example, is no longer about doing just nice things, but doing the God things. I think at some point in time, God looks at me and He expects me to, when I look at news, I see what's happening around the world, I see what's happening here in Fort Wayne. It's almost like God is now saying, okay, do I really need to tell you that you have to be involved? God has said in His Word that He has a special place in His heart for the widows and the orphans and the poor here on this earth. And I think to not recognize that is to miss out a key part of my discipleship. I mean, justice has to be part of my discipleship. Otherwise, I'm incomplete, horrifically incomplete. And I think if it matters to God, if it matters to Jesus, if it matters to the Holy Trinity, I think as a disciple, it should matter to me. And even scarier, if I don't have a heart or want to seek justice. I can't say exactly that there was a starting point, but there was a definite milestone for me, a definite point I can look back at and see where I took service as a lifestyle on as myself. It was definitely while I was in college, the summer of 2001, and I recall looking for an internship like any good college student is supposed to do. And it was the week after finals, and the InterVarsity Christian Fellowship, we always spent the last week or the week after finals at a retreat center in Michigan, in the Upper Peninsula. It's called Cedar Campus. And after that week of retreats, my plan had been to get back into an internship that I had been really hoping for. Unfortunately, things did not go as I had planned. So 6 weeks into the summer, which meant 6 weeks being there longer than I had planned, I was internship-less, but still volunteering at this campsite or retreat center. And I remember looking out at the lake one day, just a quiet time, somewhat whining to myself inwardly. And I remember God distinctly spoke to me. He said, "How selfish of you. You say I'm your pilot, I'm your master, but when I have you where I want you to be to help people that I love, not that I love you any less, you whine and complain because that's not where you want to be." And that really struck me because I hadn't thought of me being there. I had not thought about me not getting the internship as something that God had planned. I had thought about it more of me being stranded at Cedar Campus. And from that point, I realized, okay, God does have a plan for me to be here. And not only does He have a plan for me to be here, He wanted me also to be involved, to help people at the campsite and to volunteer. So it turns out the rest of the summer I did spend at that campsite volunteering. And it was amazing. It was possibly the best summer I've had. And it was definitely a training ground for the upcoming semester in leadership within the InterVarsity Christian Fellowship organization. And it was a definite life-changing summer. And I think with each step that I take as God calls me to, which each step of obedience, it's something in me changes. It becomes more exciting, waiting to see what God has next. More exciting to see yeah, just what's around the next corner. Because I know no matter what it is that God has called me to, that His name is glorified, and if I get to see it, I get to be a part of it, it's something that's really exciting, and it's life-changing, and it strengthens my faith as well. Now, I think part of the maturity cycle process is God saying, okay, do I really need to tell you that you are to help the poor and the orphans and the widow? I mean, He said so repeatedly in His Word. Do I need a specific invitation? And I think I do not. I think it should be something I see something in the world happen, and something deep inside of me should be grieved. When I see children living on the streets, something inside of me should be grieved when I see injustice of any shape, form, regardless of who it's against.